Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 515 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. It's good to be with you. As I record this, it is thundering and lightning and raining outside. And it's also a Sunday, so that makes it super cozy. And it's all the better because I get to hang out with you guys for a little bit. So thank you for being here. Now, I hate to admit this to you, but sometimes I run a little behind for things. I'm working on it and I have been getting better, but there's this one appointment that I have every month. And the last couple of times, probably last 3 times, I've been a few minutes late for this appointment. And so this day when I was going, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be late. I have to be on time. They're going to be so mad if I'm late. So I left way early. I mean, to the point to where I was going to be 10 or 15 minutes early for my appointment, which is fine. But I could just sit there and whatever. It's not a problem. But that day of all days, I'm driving and I run into construction. Okay, no problem. I left early enough to sit there and still be on time. I'm still just cruising along, not having a problem sitting in traffic because I know I'm going to be fine. And so I get out of traffic and then I keep going and then I'm right across the road. I can almost see the building where my appointment is, but it crosses a railroad track. And you guessed it, I ran into a train. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh no. So I look down at my clock and I went, okay, I can see the building. I have 5 minutes. I should be fine. Well, 6 minutes later, the longest train in history passes and I'm able to cross the tracks. And I still end up 3 or 4 minutes late, which was so frustrating to me because in my mind, I had done everything right that day to be on time. But what that taught me is this: because I had been late the last few times, no one's going to really take my excuses seriously, even though they were valid. I had done nothing wrong that day. But the other days I was just late due to my own things that had been obviously, more important. But had I been more intentional, I could have avoided being late. So even though the day that I left early and I was still late, I felt like I had done something wrong because I hadn't been on time the prior times. So I had kind of created my own problems and my feelings were valid about that. I need to do better on my timing. I knew I needed to do better, so feeling like I had done something wrong was kind of appropriate because I should be better on time. But what about the times, though, when we feel for no reason like we've done something wrong, especially when it involves someone else? Do you ever do that? Like someone's upset, you don't think it has anything to do with you, but you still feel responsible in some way, like you should fix it, or maybe it's somehow your fault. Maybe you notice you're doing it. Maybe you don't notice it. Maybe it's subconscious. But for some reason, you feel responsible and you've done nothing wrong. So the other morning I woke up and Eric was not in bed. Now I'm usually the first one awake always. So now I'm worried, like something's wrong because he's not in bed. And I started creating all these bad things in my head. Like, is he sick? Did he ever come to bed? Is he mad at me? Did the pups crowd him so much that he's just over it and went into another room? And I started feeling myself having anxiety, like I had done something wrong. But I've been really working on boundaries and not taking responsibility for everyone else's feelings. So I caught myself and I laughed and I said, okay, wait a minute. I've done nothing wrong. You're getting yourself all worked up. You've done nothing wrong. Whatever is going on is with him, not me. What I need to do right now is find him and make sure he's okay and see if I can help in any way. And that felt really good to notice because I realized I've lived like that for so long where anytime I think someone is upset, I kind of feel it's my responsibility somehow, even if it's just that I should be able to fix it. Well, as it turned out, Eric's shoulder was hurting in the night, so he got up to take some leave, and it was kind of early in the morning, and he didn't want to wake me up, so he went back and slept in our guest bedroom. No problems. But for a few minutes there, I had created these terrible scenarios, none of which were good, most of which I was taking on some guilt for. I'm actually glad it happened, and especially glad it happened with my husband, because it showed me how much work I had to do in not making myself into always somehow being the bad guy. Earlier in the week, I had planned to go to yoga. I have this new goal where I'm going to do yoga at least twice a week and then my other regular workouts as well. And then after yoga, I had a client meeting, but my older sister sort of unexpectedly was staying with me again for a week, of which I'm so happy about. But it was going to be her first full day of being here, and I was going to be gone for half of the day. But I had already planned it before we had made any. We didn't know she was going to be with us. So I was up early before everyone else, as usual, and I was doing my morning routine. I noticed as I was sitting there and I was meditating and journaling, but I had this little bit of anxiety, and I really felt like I was going to cancel my yoga and cancel my client appointment because I was feeling guilty. I mean, what if she didn't want me to go? What if she didn't want to be home by herself for the first part of the day? Now, fortunately, my meditation and my journaling and my new goal of doing yoga twice a week, regardless of what is going on, encouraged me to keep my schedule. Now, she's been staying with us a lot since her husband passed away over a year ago, and we love having her. But my schedule and my taking care of myself makes me a better sister. I don't want to resent her being here, and if I use her as an excuse not to reach my goals, I would eventually resent her. That's how life works. So I went ahead and kept my schedule. I went to yoga, and I also kept my client appointment, and I felt amazing and creative, and my sister was just fine. Sure, she'd rather me be there, but she also knows I'm here for her always if she genuinely needs me to be. After all, that's why she's staying at my house in the first place. My parents were out of town, and they live right next door, so it was just better for her to come stay with us. Now, the old me would have felt really bad and would have felt like I had done something wrong by leaving her. But who I'm becoming knows that if I take care of myself and my responsibilities, then I'm able to be a much better sister to her when we do spend time together. In both of those scenarios, I had done nothing wrong, but I had this underlying feeling and dread like I needed to change something so that the other person felt better. Now that I notice I do that, I kind of see it in a lot of aspects of my life with my friends and my family and even my clients. And it's not something that's going to be fixed overnight. I'm just aware of it now. I mean, both of these things happened just this last week. But I have a feeling of excitement growing inside because I know how freeing it will be to allow other people to be responsible for their emotions, and I only be responsible for mine. It's a gift to me, but it's also a gift to them as well because it lessens the chance of me resenting them or feeling frustrated with them. And those feelings of frustration or resentment, if I have them, those are on me, not anyone else. Just like they're responsible for their feelings, I'm responsible for mine as well. Now, a couple things to note. The fact that I had done my meditation, my journaling, and my plan for the week made it possible for me to follow that plan and not just be at the whim of whomever, whenever. When I have a plan, especially for my self-care appointments like yoga and other workouts, when someone asks me to do something during those times, I just say that won't work. Let's find a different time. It doesn't mean I don't accommodate them. It just means I'm not going to short myself. So keep that in mind, but also being honest with yourself on where you need to improve so that you're not disrespecting other people like me being late to my appointments. It's helpful moving forward so I don't have to feel like the bad guy if something does come up and it's out of my control that I'm late. Take responsibility for all of your actions, not just the good ones. My challenge to you this week is when someone is upset and you feel responsible, notice it. And then ask, is there something I did, or am I just taking on responsibility because it's my knee-jerk reaction to do so? If that's the case, then actually do what I did and stop and say to yourself, maybe even give yourself a little laugh and say, wait a minute, I've done nothing wrong here. And then proceed accordingly. It's time we let ourselves off the hook for everybody else's bad day. Share this with 3 people who need to be let off the hook. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.